Imagine this. You're 35 years old. You've spent more than a decade working. You did everything you were told. Studied hard, got a degree, worked overtime, stayed loyal. And suddenly, you're no longer qualified to work. Not because you lack skills, not because you lack experience, but because of one number, your age. In China, there's a widely known concept called the 35-year-old barrier. It means once you hit 35, your career doesn't just slow down. It can collapse overnight. Companies don't hide it. They don't pretend. They write it directly into job postings. Under 35 only. Sometimes even more extreme. Men under 35. Women under 25. And yes, this is real. If you look back at the news, this situation was being widely discussed at least 20 years ago. Yet, rather than improving, the situation has only grown worse. Some say that once China's population declines, the situation will improve. I beg to differ. The fact that the Chinese people live like slaves is a reality that dates back thousands of years. Chinese people always claim that their culture values respect for the elderly. However, in the context of a job interview, this simply does not apply. Interviewers younger than you will only look down on you. I wonder how these interviewers will feel when they are laid off at the age of 35. But here's the part that most outsiders don't understand. This problem doesn't actually start at 35. It starts much earlier. 30, 28, sometimes even younger. Let me tell you something from my own experience. I'm not even 35 yet, but I've already felt it. I've seen it around me. I have friends, smart, hardworking people who hit 30, and suddenly the tone of the job market changes. When you're 25, companies chase you. When you're 28, they start asking questions. When you're 30, they start hesitating. Not openly, not directly, but you can feel it. The interviews get colder. The opportunities shrink. The expectations become strange. It's like the system is quietly telling you, you're no longer the future. I've seen job postings that don't even try to hide it. Looking for candidates under 30. Not 35. Not even 32. Under 30. And the craziest part? Nobody is surprised. People just accept it. I know people who were laid off in their early 30s. And that's when the real nightmare begins. Because once you're out, getting back in is incredibly hard. You send out resumes. No response. You go to interviews. They smile politely and then reject you. Not because you're not capable, but because there's always someone younger, cheaper, more energetic, more willing to work insane hours. And this is where you need to understand the deeper reality of China's job market. This is not just discrimination. This is a system built around exhaustion. In China, there's a work culture known as 996. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. That's 72 hours per week. Now ask yourself, who is more likely to survive that? A 23-year-old fresh graduate with no responsibilities? Or a 30-year-old with a family, maybe a child, maybe aging parents? Companies know the answer, so they optimize for it. They don't want the most experienced worker. They want the most replaceable one. And that creates a brutal cycle. Young workers are overworked. Middle-aged workers are pushed out. And everyone is afraid. In the tech industry, it's even worse. Technology changes fast. Very fast. So you're expected to work 60+ hours a week, constantly learn new skills, stay competitive with younger workers. At the same time, but here's the paradox. If you're working all the time, you don't have time to learn. And if you don't learn, you fall behind. And if you fall behind, you get replaced. I've talked to people who feel trapped. They know they're burning out. They know this pace is unsustainable. But they can't stop. Because once you slow down, even for a moment, someone younger is ready to take your place. And then there's the data. Surveys show that more than 60% of job seekers over 35 remain unemployed for over 6 months. Around 80% say age is their biggest obstacle. But honestly, you don't even need the data. You can feel it in everyday life. People start worrying about their future at 28. They panic at 30. They dread 35. Compare that to Western countries. People there talk about a midlife crisis. It usually happens at 40, 50, even 60. In China, your midlife crisis begins before your life even feels stable. And here's the most frustrating part. There's no clear law that truly stops this. Labor laws talk about equality, but they don't clearly ban age discrimination. So companies openly set age limits. And nothing really happens. Even worse, this mindset doesn't just come from companies. It comes from the system itself. For years, government jobs, the most stable and desirable positions, also had strict age limits. So what message does that send? If even the government prefers younger workers, why wouldn't everyone else? Over time, this became the norm. Not questioned, not challenged, just accepted. And this creates something deeper than just a job problem. It creates a psychological pressure across an entire generation. People don't feel secure. They don't feel valued. They don't feel like their experience matters. So what do? They adapt. They avoid changing jobs, stay in toxic workplaces, work longer hours, delay having children, lower their expectations for life. Because they know one thing, if they fall off the track, it's very hard to get back on. So when people talk about the 35-year-old barrier in China, it sounds like a number, a simple age limit. But in reality, it's a countdown. And for many people, that countdown doesn't start at 35. It starts at 30, sometimes even earlier. And the scariest part? Everyone knows it. But very few people can escape it. Does this situation exist in your country? What does being 35 mean to you? Please let me know in the comments section. I am Lino. I have to cover my face and use an AI voice because I often cannot help but express views that the authorities dislike. And I live in a country where even accessing YouTube is banned. See you in the next video.